Sup, y'all? Welcome back to Saltine Cracker and Chicken Broth Review. I'm your host, 8-year-old that can't stop going to the nurse during elementary school. I've played a lot of Souls games. Now, I'm not no Souls YouTuber or anything. Dude, I made like a Super Mario 64 video. I am like the bottom of the barrel right over here. But like, let me just ask you a simple question. If you like Dark Souls 3, if you like Bloodborne, if you like Sekiro, if you like any of the Souls games, come here. Come on. Liza P. Is it worth your time? Even with a demo? Yeah, yes it is, baby. Liza P is being made by Round 9 Studios and Neowitz, and it's coming out as a Souls-like that is inspired by Pinocchio and other, dark fairy tales, grim fairy tales that like. And the demo just came out. It's on Steam. It should last about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, depending on your Souls-like experience. I played through the game twice, so there's that. But I just want to say this right now. This is just a very kind of surface level review, more or less because it's just a demo, but oh my god, this is really good. Like, ooh, this is some spicy stuff. So I'm getting ahead of myself. What's this game about? So you are, I think, P. It's not said if you're Pinocchio or not. I don't think your character has a name. I'm just gonna call him P. So anyways, P wakes up in a train car, and with the guided voice of some blue butterfly thing and this little cricket thing called Gemini. It looks like Gemini, but I think it's the legally distinct name. Then you have to basically make your way through the city of Krat, trying to free the citizens of this unknown disease and a robot frenzy outbreak, which is making all the robots angry and a little bit ticked off. And basically go through that by swinging weapons, big ass electric things, and punching people. Now, I want to talk about first how this game is different from the Souls games, but it still complements a lot of the other Souls titles. So, let me just first start off with just like the world space. State the obvious, Bloodborne. Bloodborne, we've been waiting for that game on PC for goddamn almost 10 years, and It shows. It honestly reminds me of that Steel Rising game that came out maybe a year ago. It was the one with like French architecture and Marie Antoinette, but this one takes place in the late 1800s, I think. So that should be good. But all the staples are here. We have the world that's interesting. We have the character designs that are so interesting. Robots, fucking notes, everything. This is a Souls game. This isn't some dumbed down stuff. This isn't like, yeah, we edit Souls-like because our game is freaking hard. Of course, this is probably the devs for Horizon Zero Dawn. So yeah, I said it. So let's just talk about the weapons and just talk about combat in general. So combat, I warmed up to it. I think it's really good. I think that it's definitely different because it's a kind of a mix of Sekiro and Dark Souls. Specifically a little bit of Dark Souls 2, which I found interesting. So basically this is how it works. You swing your sword, yada yada yada. You swing a little bit slower, which I was kind of expecting, like, you know, Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, like swing, 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 swing. There is no Elden Ring like 4-hit or 3-hit, whatever, with your weapons. There are light weapons, heavy weapons. I think there's like a medium kind of choice too with the electric coil thing that I found, but I'm not sure. And then there is everything else in between. So the way that combat works is like, of course, you slash, but you're also gaining up like this little SP meter almost, and when you gain a certain amount of bars with it, you can activate an ability specific to that weapon. But there's two parts to it. So there's the blade part of it that can either be like a slash or a guard, attack up, etc. And then there's the handle, sometimes can cost more, but can bring you benefits such as attack up, guard, a really heavy swipe. It's very useful. I did forget to use it throughout my first playthrough because I thought it was kind of not necessary, thinking like, oh, I can just be like this is like Dark Souls. It is. This game is boss fights. Ooh. Anyways, so combat, I like it. If we want to talk about improvements, I would say let the weapons feel more weighty in their sound effects, because some of the weapons are like, you have a big ass like blade. This is like one big Bowie knife, and like I don't feel the impact of it, and I think there just needs to be some general sound cleanup, not from like enemies and whatnot, but just like, you know, atmosphere is there, but like, yeah, just replace some combat noises and you should be fine. God, it's fucking noon and I feel like a piece of shit, boy. So then we have just general abilities. So there's two ones I want to mention. So of course there is the healing system, which is kind of like a weird kind of Bloodborne, Dark Souls-esque idea. So in Elden Ring, there were moments where if you killed a large group of enemies in this open field, you would regain an Estus. This was a new mechanic. In Lies of P, you actually have a set amount, which is 3, and at the most, I think in the demo is 4. And then once you use all of them, you can infinitely recharge the last one, but you have to damage the enemy a certain amount. And usually that's a heavy amount. So imagine like you're in a boss fight, that's pretty much what it's going to be used for if you're taking extra hits. Which I think I like that. I do like the accessibility of it. I think some people are going to be like, oh, well, you probably want to do whatever with it. Like, no skill, bro, no skill. I'm yelling so much, oh my god. But I like it. I think it's definitely a great change of pace if you're looking for something like that. And then there is the Legion Arm. So the Legion Arm is a very interesting idea. I really do like it. I just wish we kind of saw more of it in action. So basically there's this arm that you have that acts more like a extra tool or hit. So imagine how in the Dark Souls games there were certain weapon abilities. So like imagine in Dark Souls 3 there's a weapon that allowed you to like stab into the floor and have like a big force field, like not force field, but like an EMP like ability go around. That's essentially what the Legion Arm is. So there's 3 versions. There's the one where you punch really hard and you get, and depending on your wind up, you can get up to like, I think 400 damage. There's a grappling hook that allows you to go in closer towards enemies, or it allows the enemies to be draw towards you. God, why am I yawning so much? And then the last one that I found was an electric arm after you defeat the second boss, which is very cool. I kind of like the idea of it. I think it could be a good, like, crowd control mechanic. All right, now I got to talk about the main event, the boss fights. And we get 3 of them here, but I'm calling them 2 because the other one is going to show that, yeah, there's going to be, like, multiplayer and stuff. So, who do we got? All right, so we got the ringleader. This guy, big, bold, brash. When I was first playing this game, he took his fucking head off, and he just started whacking me with it. That is such a cool fucking boss design. Like, the one thing I like about this game is that even though there are some parts that are more faltered, they really do have a vision when it comes to boss designs and what they could do with it. Like the boss malforming itself, I mean, it reminds me of Elden Ring and the first, like, great rune fight or whatever. But that is such a cool idea, and I love the aesthetic of it. Also, the music during this part, mwah, so good, molto bene. I have hiccups now. So the second fight you come across when you're trying to find your father is the Mad Donkey. I didn't record any footage for this because it's literally just you against an AI. It's unfortunate. It works. You can backstab him a couple of times. He does have a cool, like, blade thing I think you can get later, but I don't know, kind of underwhelming. But it does show that there's going to be probably fights like this. Hopefully we don't get something like Dark Souls 2 with the 3-on-1 fight. Oh my god. I'm recording this now because the fucking thing that I used, the audio got fucked up. So anyway, here's the special gentleman angle. The last boss that I fought was the decommissioned police officer. It was like this huge police officer robot that had, like, the body more of like an ape, and, like, it had, like, a cool, like, spine. It was like electric and shit. Like, damn, this thing kicked my ass no less than 50 times. Like I was getting my ass kicked. I had, like, an AI help thing, which is like the summoning spirit thing from Dark Souls 3. And here's the thing with this. This boss regens health. Holy fuck, you are fucked if you leave bosses like that for too long. Now, of course, you can usually whittle them down a lot where the health will gradually slowly deplete, but, like, this is like it kind of reminds me of one fight from Ultra Kill where, I'm just going to say P1 and then first phase, and if you were a first time player like me, God help you. Yeah, and it had, like, a healing ability that was really annoying and you had to take care of it, so, but in this, it works, because in Dark Souls, it's like, there is really a game of cat and mouse when you're playing with combat. Like, you can be aggressive like in Bloodborne, but usually it does get you killed. And I think in this game it really works because it's aligning mechanics where it's like, okay, you can block, you can do, like, this, like, kind of like parry thing where you can do your visceral attack, but you still have to keep on top of the boss. You can't just run to another side of the arena, even though they are somewhat large. So it's like, it's trying to box you in and trying to engage combat. You can't, like, play passively, which, that's what I like. That's what I like. I want to see more of that, but I don't want bosses to be fucking bullet sponges. Or slash sponges. Yeah, that was the re-recorded bit. Fuck OBS, I guess. So early on, you basically discover that there is really no parry, and it's kind of weird. You're just like, huh? But I did realize what they're going for, unless there is actually a parry that you get later. So the idea is that when you block, if you block at the right time, you take no damage. This is something that usually happens in stuff like this. But if you block enough times and you do enough attacks, you can stagger the enemy with a heavy attack. This is not new either, but I think it does encourage something interesting. Unless there is an item that can directly parry or build that, like, hidden meter up when you're attacking something, especially bosses, this is an interesting mechanic where it's like, okay, if you keep guarding perfectly, and of course the boss had these, like, red attacks that you can only perfectly parry or at least move really out of the way for, I think that this is a very interesting mechanic where you're dodging and you're blocking. It gives it a reason to exist. So, because, you know, in Bloodborne, it's like, oh, you have a wooden shield, it does nothing. Because this is in the game for that. This game is kind of encouraging an aggressive playstyle, but not a mindlessly flail, kind of like in Bloodborne. So I think this could really work. I hope that there are bosses that really kind of take encourage of this blocking. I mean, hell, there's an enemy in the game that blocks your attacks, and you have to, like, work past that. So I think that's a good idea. I hope this mechanic is maybe better sorted out, because it should say, yeah, if you block, you can build up the like visceral meter that you can't see. Because when it happens, like a little white bar flashes, and you have to like do like an attack at a certain place. And there's even an upgrade that like lets that stun enemy like kind of be stunned for longer, which I think is cool. I like that. It gives you more time to figure out where to stab. And yeah, that's pretty much all I could think of. And yeah, no, I think it's interesting, but I think that it should be explained a little better. Because I was confused by it. I was wondering, why can't I dodge these one red attacks? Honestly, that was probably just because of reading. And I mean, listen, I'm an English major. I have the comprehension of a third grader. Like, I have Goo Goo Gaga up here. It is stupid highlight reel that I've made, but is Lies of PE worth your time? Yes. The demo is great. It lasts 2.5 hours to 3 hours, depending on your skill. I would say you should probably pre-order this game. Of course, there are changes, and if you think there's other things that they need to do first, probably wait until it launches in September. I'm probably going to pre-order this game. I have been on this crave of wanting a Souls game, or Souls-like, to be in that linear fashion after Elden Ring. Because listen, as I said before, Elden Ring, perfect. I really, really like it. But I think one thing it did not do well is sometimes hyping up the boss to be important, or at least have it be as important. But that's just a personal thing. It's really nothing against the devs or whatever. So yeah, Lies of P is worth your time. Play it, or I'll make you drink Fanta. I don't know.
It would happen that way, or were you fooling?